Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you are watching this, right? So, let me just adjust that camera. So, many years ago, what was it, back in 2012, which this is 2020 right now. So, however many years that is, however many moons, whatever. Many moons ago, I dated a married couple. I dated the wife as well as the husband. They both knew about it, the whole thing. I met them in San Antonio towards the beginning of the end in reference to what was going on with my daughter and doing the best for both her as well as my son. Now, I was heavily involved within the BDSM, LGBTQP, and swinger communities in my way, in the way I felt comfortable. And so, and that's the way it should be, by the way. If you're going to be involved in the communities, it should be on your individual preferences on how you feel comfortable. So, and for those who may not have known, in Temple of Flesh in San Antonio is considered more of a swinger community than it is BDSM. So for those who have doubted that, but also those at Temple of Flesh would also know that when I would go there, I don't think I actually ever played once at Temple of Flesh, now that I'm thinking about it. I don't think there's one time I actually had a scene. Every time that I went there, I went and I danced. I just enjoyed dancing. I enjoyed talking with people. I enjoyed sitting down and talking. I help out where I could in different areas. I didn't have a problem with that. But the biggest point in reference to the club in Seattle, I pretty much did everything that I did at Temple of Flesh and any other BDSM, LGBTQP, swinger events. I would dance if there was music, and if the different people of the club needed help, I'd help. If I got to play, usually I'm far more BDSM than I am swinger. It's just the way I am. However, I like to dance. That it's a thing. And so at the Temple of Flesh events especially, usually they had a DJ spinning, and he was, or she was doing like underground techno music that I grew up dancing to when I was in New Jersey, especially growing up there. And so for anyone that may have gone to Seattle at Sapphire and didn't know that I liked to dance because they had never gone to a Temple of Flesh event, surprise! Though I did talk about liking to dance at some point. So anyway, and no, that's not a euphemism. And so, though I do enjoy the other aspect, I have how I am in reference to how I feel about things. And I can't do the normal version, quote unquote, because there's really no normal when it comes to any of those communities. There are areas of common ground, but there is no normalcy, in my opinion, because each individual, it depends on what relationship they're in, if they're in one at all, how they personally feel, the environment, the surroundings, not even getting into who attends the events. I mean, there's just such a multitude of things. And I would guesstimate, um, especially in, and not being rude or, um, what's the word? Not being dismissive of the other two communities, but probably the LGBTQP community would be the best example for that, because I would guesstimate that they would be able to be like, yes, you could go to one event and in a 20-minute time period, the entirety of the aspects can change. And so that's an example. But anyway, so back in 2012, I restarted going to Temple of Flesh because it was once a month, and then whatchamacallit, irony on certain things when you think of the female thing where you get so happy in 1 second and so upset in the exact same second when you look at yourself and you're like, yay, I'm not pregnant. Ah, 7 days. All right. I did make one of those meme things about that, where it was like, you know, the feminine products, and then, you know, in the bathroom, and it's like the 1 second that you're extremely excited and extremely upset at the exact same time. And it doesn't matter if you are the female or the person who is involved with the female, where you're like, yeah, oh, depending on the relationship you're in. Because there are those who are like me, where it does not matter what day of the week or month. I'll leave it at that. So, yeah, I made that little meme thing. I got the little, took me a while to figure out how to do that. But anyway, so I posted that on the Facebook thing. That was my meme thing. I did it. You caught me. I did it. I made the meme. And so that was me. I texted it to people and I made the meme thing. I did it. Yes, it was me. You caught me. Anyway, so back in 2012, I think it was like probably towards the end of January, I started dating Joey and Meg Estes. Whatchamacallit, on Fetlife, it was like Daddy Joe or something like that, or Papa Bear Joe or something, whatever. And then Little something, I don't remember, Brad or whatever. Anyway, Joey had worked for Kelly Air Force Base, that's what he said at least, but he hadn't graduated Air Force basic training. He was doing some airplane stuff. And then Meg was a stay-at-home mom, and they had 2 or 3 children together. And 2 daughters, 1 son, I think is what it was. Or it was, I know there was 1 male, and then at least 1 daughter. I think it might have been 2 daughters. Anyway, they lived off of 410 and Petranco and 151, like that vicinity. Which is weird, because Christine from the Jade Wolf Coven that, you know, met in Seguin, Texas, lived in that vicinity over by SeaWorld. And, you know, is what it is. But anyway, so started dating Meg and Joey, and Meg and I got along great. Joey and I got along great. When the 3 of us were together, though, there was this underlying tension that just seemed weird. I was like, I'll do certain types of play, but going as far as actual intercourse, that one is where I'm very particular and finicky. I don't deny that. I've been that way. Hence why I say I've gone to swingers clubs, but I usually dance. And then how about, like clean stuff up or help set stuff up or whatever, different areas. Aside from only two events of Temple of Flesh where I performed. One was the Uniform Fetish Ball, the last year it was around, and then the other was Exotic Easter. Ironically, the Uniform Fetish Ball, I danced to the swing dance version of, by, I think it was the Denver Mile High Club, of the Star Spangled Banner. And then the Exotic Easter one, there was dancing, so just saying. Literally in front of your faces. So, we dated a few months, and Joey kept being like, I want, and it's like, that's nice. Until I feel comfortable, no. Like, that's realistically the way it goes. And so I had gotten a few toys, and wound up pegging him because he was into that, and it's like, that's fine, no big deal. And I'm a sadist. I'm a dominant sadist specifically, but because he was like, I want you to, dominate me, but not fully, and did it on. It's like, yeah, like, you're not going to top from the bottom, and pun intended. And, and so if we play, give me your limitations, and I'll stay within those limitations, but I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And so, there was a little bit of foreplay, I'll leave it at that. And then it was, okay, roll over, lay on your stomach, and okay, and good. And so started, pegging. You can research that. And so was pegging him and stuff like that, and I get real close to his ear, and Meg is on the other side, and she's just like rubbing his back. And I was like, so how does it feel? I can tell that you're about to fully release. And you're nowhere near the ability to actually be inside of me. How does that feel? Because I'm a sadist. I'm a dominant sadist. So, I mean... And then after that, he threw a temper tantrum because I wouldn't let him have sex with me. And it was just one of those, because of the way, anytime the three of us were together, it was this weird tension. And I didn't like it. They wouldn't both talk with me about the same topics in front of one another. Ever. They would not do it. And it was like, okay, well, if you're not gonna speak with me about certain topics that are a requirement for me to feel comfortable to go and cross over that line, I'm just not willing to do it at all. And so, it's kind of weird because Joey and Meg's house was similarly set up in certain ways close to the way Christine and Mike's house were set up. Very similar. Master bedroom on the first floor, kitchen, living area, that whole thing on the first floor. It's just the stairs were literally in a different spot. It's like the only thing I can think of that was realistically different about their houses. Like even their kitchens were set up similarly. But anyway, so one day, I'm trying to find a median point, and Meg is telling me one thing, Joey's telling me another thing. I'm just like, this is not adding up. I'm bad at math, but this is just not adding up whatsoever. So I figured if they both came over to my apartment, my son was at a sleepover, so okay. What they did with their children, I'm going to guess like one of their parents were watching the children, and or related someone, whatever. They had a babysitter at some point. And so I cooked dinner, we talked, we played a little bit, but then it was like, all right, well, I'm going to go downstairs and smoke because I'm done. Like, it just felt weird. I know I'm not the only person who has done something like that. Maybe more so on usually a male doing that rather than a female. But it is what it is. It was literally like, okay, you two can just stop. Like, I just stop. I need a cigarette. I can't. Just get away. Yeah, your mouths are great. Get out of here. I need a cigarette. I've done that on more than one occasion. I'm very particular on that. Anyway, so Meg comes downstairs to the back patio and she's like, so is like anything else gonna happen? Like, what? And right now I'm just trying to like calm down. And I'm gonna pause right there before I go on and kind of go to a different situation. So there were several individuals at the, was it Crossroads, Crossland, something like that. And, Mike and Patty, we talked about stuff. They had a roommate, and I don't know if it was some weird competition between Alan and Joey, but it was just one of those, whatever it is, it is. Because anytime Alan's name was brought up, Joey just, and it's like, yeah, okay. Why are you complaining? Like, what does what he's doing have anything to do with your life? Nothing? Oh, okay. Just making sure. Like, there were times where Joey complained more than females, and it was just one of those. Anyway, so that night was after I had given Joey a birthday present, which he was into like the Joker movie thing. And so I got him like, I don't remember whether it was eBay or Etsy or one of those where it was like a purple suit, like the Joker and stuff like that, but in his size, like did the whole thing. I think it was the 50s version. And which I found that. I got a good deal on it too. But anyway, got him that and a fairy statue. And but that was kind of like a joint type of gift. Anyway, so going back to the night of that, Meg is trying to hint something, but she's not like just saying the words. I'm just like, okay, so you told me that Joey had slept with a bunch of females and cheated on you, and he cheated on his first wife. And then that was the reason for the divorce. You have said that you have, messed around with females far more than you've ever messed around with males. Okay. And you want me to fix your marriage? No, 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 no. That is not my job. I'm not going to fix your marriage. And if that's what you think that, like, me being around, no, that's not going to fix that. That's not going to fix that at all. Like, at all. That's going to make, like, more problems. And I'm not willing to deal with that. I got enough I'm dealing with at this time. So, and then Erica Discordia online was getting involved. And it's like, why are you getting involved in what relationship is not yours? At all. Like, I mean, seriously. And then she admitted that, like, looking at me as competition, it's like, oh, this is ridiculous. So, which, a funny little story. So, I'm going to pause on that. Erica told me about this one time. She was at a swingers party, but it wasn't a club. It was like, a private house party. Pun intended where this is going. And so, like, her and her husband at the time, not Brian, because Brian was her boyfriend, but, like, she had a husband before him. And they were in the swinger community and stuff like that. And apparently, the guy that she was with, lost his condom, like, in her. And then later on, like, her husband was doing stuff, and then he found it. And it was like, how did you not feel that? Like, how did you not, like, that was my question, was, how did you not feel that he lost it inside of you? Like, when walking around, doing anything at all? No, you didn't feel it? Like, nothing? I mean, like, do you feel tampons? And she was like, well, if they're the right size. And I was like, oh. Well, I guess a condom is probably a lot smaller when it's all ew, 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 ew. How do you not? How do you, ew, ew. Just ew, ew. I actually feel bad for your ex-husband for having to find that the way he did. And she was just like, why don't you feel bad for me? Because you didn't even realize it was in there. Like, that's why. Like, that you want to be a part of the swinger community, that's fine, that's your thing. But, like, if you can't tell that you got that inside of you, I mean, ew. And so I had asked, was that the reason why you and your ex-husband got divorced? And she was like, no. And I was like, okay. I think it might have had something to do with that. Might have been like, whoa. What is that? Probably was not laughing. But that's aside from the point. Anyway, so, Meg is like trying to hint at something. I don't know what she was trying to hint at, but she didn't get her point across. And so, go back upstairs after I finish smoking. I'm like, all right, I'm done. Like, just, yeah, I guess I can do that, but I'd rather just not. Kinda. So, the next morning, we go to breakfast at the Taco Cabana over by the Thousand Oaks apartment complex. And we're eating breakfast out on the patio. And Meg looks at Joey and taps him on the shoulder, and she's like, and she walks off, and I'm like, what? All right, whatever. And then Joey looks at me as soon as she gets inside, and he leans across the table, and he's like, you were supposed to have sex with me last night. What? Really? Thanks for letting me know. I thought that was my choice, and I'm not your goat or something like that that's going to be traded around, and da-da-da-da-da. And I go down the gambit of stuff. I'm infuriated. And he's just like, and I was like, no, don't you back up now because you opened your mouth. You want to try to tell me what? What? I don't think so, boy. I pegged you. You don't get you, and that was by your choice. Don't you think that you're going to come at me when no. It's over. I'm not dating you two. We're done. We're done. It's over. I am so infuriated. No. And he was like, wait, what? And I'm like, the relationship is over. I don't want to have anything to do with either one of you. I will be cordial at the crossroads because that's like where you go. And like, if I see you at TOF or Temple of Flesh, I'll be cordial. But no, it is over. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I am so infuriated right now. Maybe when I calm down, I'll want to talk with you about things. But right now, I am so hot under the collar, you don't want to know what's going on in my thought process at all, boy. And he was just like, but no. You two drove your own cars here. I drove my own car. I'm out. Bye. And he was just like, but no, boy. You are not. And then he tried to stop me by saying, but Meg said she would get you. I don't care what she said. It is not up to her. It is up to me, not you, boy. Don't you ever make that mistake again. Got it? Good. Get that through your thick skull, boy. Picked up my stuff, walked out. Went to my car, gone. I was so mad. Kind of still am, I don't deny that. Because you're not going to tell me when I'm going to have sex with you. If I'm going to have sex with you, I will make that choice for myself. You are not going to. No, I'm very particular. I will fight you. I will hurt you if you attempt when I am not ready. It will not be pretty. And so, I chose to I calmed myself down, and then it's really weird because there was an issue with this blue Dodge Durango in the apartment complex at the exact same time of this going on. And that female wound up parking the rear driver's side tire like over the line at an angle where half of the back end of that Dodge Durango was in my assigned parking spot. I was like, I don't have patience. Well, as that kind of occurred around the same time, less than 2 weeks, if that, there was an apartment fire in the apartment complex. It was one by the street, and it was like, oh, and I didn't know it until the next day. I just kept hearing the fire engines, and it's like, oh, be safe, but wow, like, ow, ow, headaches. I mean, I know you need to have the sirens going, but ow, Can you get where you're going? I didn't realize they were there. Literally and figuratively, they were there where they needed to be, and then they were there at the apartment complex. And so, not making light of the fire, although I do have to admit that's a pun intended because, you know. And so, so I know it's a bad pun. I know it's 2/3 of a pun. That's fine. But so a couple weeks go by. I didn't go to any events at the Crossroads because that was the only place that they would go. And so I had already been to multiple events. And within the San Marcos area, they only have their events on certain times, or had. And it was one of those, okay, you know, I'll give you your space, you do your thing at Crossroads, and it's not like I get to see them all the time out there, so I'll go out there. And, you know, I mean, I had to, by that time in 2012, I had been to different events, yeah, throughout San Antonio. Mainly in San Antonio, there were classes that I had been to up to that year. And then one or two events comparatively to the number of classes that I attended. Then in the DFW area, you know, at that time that I was there, there was a sanctuary, and I'd gone to multiple events before, well before getting into Club Femme, like well before getting involved. I think I was going to the sanctuary for like a year and a half before I ever went to a Club Femme event. Then when in Austin, I mean, I was involved with Club Femme, a few events, not many, but a few in reference to TNG Austin. I was involved with Gwen, I was involved with Sod, and then the Austin Mentors program, and then like various Munches, Snark, just like all these different ones where, you know, because I mean, Austin has a very large scene. It just, that's the realistic aspect, despite the fact that Dallas is very metropolitan and very, you know, it's a large city. The amount of events I usually, like the larger number of different types was usually in the Austin scene. And so I've been involved with so many different ones that it was just one of those, I could literally go whichever way. You know, you guys take your time to, you know, heal or whatever, your egos. And I'll go, you know, just do my own thing. I can that's not a problem. I am a social flutterby. It's no big deal. And so, and not in a negative connotation, just one of those like, I'm very social. I like to talk with people. You know, I know that I'm not always going to get to play. So, no, but it's just one of those, I can always talk with people. I can always hang out, you know, check on how they're doing, you know, and stuff like that. So, various events, and certain ones I'd only get to see certain people. So it was like, okay, make the extra effort. So for like a month, I did that. And then, you know, it was after like 2 weeks before the full month, you know, I go over to Joey and Meg's house, and both of them refuse to speak with me at the same time. Meg will speak with me, and then Joey will speak with me, but neither of them at the same time. And then when I tried to get them to speak with me at the same time, Joey threw a temper tantrum, started crying, and then ran off to the bedroom to curl into a little ball and cry in bed. And I was like, all right. So I was dating both of you. I wasn't dating just one or the other. I was dating both of you at the same time. I'm not going to date just one of you. Like, at all. And, like, if this doesn't get fixed now, not only am I not going to date you as a couple, but I don't care if you wind up getting a divorce later on. I'm not going to date you, like, individually at all. Like, like, after this experience, no. And so, like, don't bother. Do not think that, I mean, we could, be cordial. Maybe we can rebuild the friendship-ish portion, but other than that, not gonna happen. Like, no. I know who I would be willing to attempt a relationship with again if a relationship ends, depending on how it ends. And this is a absolute no-go. This will never be resuscitated between any of the three of us. Like, this is just over. It's over. And so, and I had told Meg that, and I said, I'm going to ask Joey if one more time, if he will speak with me. If he refuses to, I'm leaving, and that's the end of it. Went to the bedroom. Joey's on the bed, crying in a ball. I understand males have emotions. I don't deny that. It's just one of those, not gonna deal with it. And so went over, he rolled over. He was first like sniveling where the crying was facing the door. So it went out into the living room. It's like, ugh. Okay. So I get to the door. He rolls over to the other side, and I'm like, you want to talk? Okay, either you're going to talk with me, or I'm leaving. And it's over. We're done. I told him the same thing I told Meg. And, like, you got this last shot. And then it's like, over. I'm going to count to 3. And if you don't, like, actually use words, I'm going out the door. 1, 2, 3. Walked out the door. And Meg just looked at me. Are you sure? I am sure. 100% certain. You two know exactly what I am dealing with at this moment in time. I don't need this additional garbage. I don't have the patience for it, and I will not tolerate it. Walked out the door, went to my car. Now, I will say, during one of the dates, and it was a daytime date, went out, I had the convertible Spider Mitsubishi Eclipse at the time. And I had just gotten it back because of a clutch issue. Well, I'm driving on 410. Those who know the 410 loop will, or at least know the vicinity of, so I had the top down, driving, because San Antonio, I have a convertible. Why would I put the top up? Like, the weather's, when I was in Dallas, it didn't matter if it was snowing. I would put the heater of the seat on. I put little earmuffs on. I'd have gloves on, and the convertible was down. I was driving Bumblebee around, no problem. I did not care because I was enjoying the drive. And so, anyway, got the top down in the Mitsubishi Spider Eclipse, although I do have to admit, I do call it a Mitsubishi. And so, and if you really think about certain aspects of my attitude sometimes, and so, no denying on that. Anyway, so I have a few acronyms for cars, but that'll be another video. Anyway, so, or whatever. Anyway, so driving, get it into 5th gear, or I get it from fourth gear, and I'm about to, put it in 5th gear, and because it was a manual transmission, not automatic, it was manual, so I had to actually shift the different gears because I like to drive that way in certain areas. But anyway, so again, they lived at the 410 151 Petrenko area. I get on the highway, I'm in the left lane, and I get into just to go put it into fifth gear, get the clutch to go into fifth gear, go to accelerate to continue on after taking care of the clutch portion because it's 2 pedals, and it slows down. It won't accelerate. It went into neutral. I was like, no. No, 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 no. And so there was no way for me to get over to the right-hand side of the road. Absolutely no way. It was like 2 o'clock. No way for me to get out there. So popped it out, not that it really mattered, a fifth gear because it was already in neutral. And I get over to the left shoulder and I go to park. Well, the brakes were out. The emergency brake, I went to lift it. It wouldn't do it. I was like, are you kidding me? Right now? It's like, okay. I can't keep my foot on the brake this whole time. Okay, so I had to reverse. I think I got as far as Leon Valley. I think that's where I got, like right before the Leon Valley exit. And that hill, I had to stay in the left shoulder as the traffic was going obviously the opposite direction at 60 miles an hour. And ooh, okay. So glad I know how to drive. Apparently, I'm a ninja, this stuff. Ooh, I had the 4-ways on for like safety, but it was just like, ooh, okay. Well, I called the dealership and get bounced around. It's like, yeah, I need the car. I've had it less than a month and a half. Like, no. No. So thankfully that guy wound up getting the tow truck to do whatever and got that taken care of, took care of the paperwork with the guy came out to my apartment, did paperwork. I have to go back to the dealership for that. They came out. It's like, cool. And then they told me they dropped the car off, and I gave the guy the keys to like the loaner car. I'm like, here you go. And he's like, okay, bye. And he took off. And I'm like, all right, well, bye. All right, whatever. So that was shortly before the end of the relationship, ironically, with Joey and Meg. So fast forward after the 1, 2, 3 thing, and go to different events elsewhere, classes, demos, whatever, because I needed to make sure that my son was taken care of and had some sense of normalcy. He could go play with his friend Greg, whose dad and mom both worked at the apartment complex. Dee and Greg were Greg's parents' names, and so they worked at Thousand Oaks apartment complex, and James played with Greg, and okay, cool. That gave him some downtime, so that way he didn't have to worry about school. He could also not have to worry about what was going on in reference to his sister. It gave me a little bit of, that was a little bit of a break where, you know, I knew that James was okay if anything was needed. Like, I had my cell phone, no problem, that sort of stuff. Or, sometimes he'd go over to spend time with grandma and grandpa home, which that became an issue. But anyway, so month and a half goes by, and I go to the first event after the breakup at Crossroads. And Joe and Meg not there, which, they didn't always go anyway. So it was one of those, sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. It was what it was. And so it was no big deal. Spoke with people, didn't talk about the breakup, didn't discuss anything, didn't get asked any questions, didn't matter. There was a point in time where a female from Dallas came out to see me, and we played at the Crossroads, and it was just okay, whatever. Her name, I think, was Bound for or by Desire, if I'm not mistaken, on Fetlife at the time. I met her because of Brandon, which was a guy that went to Crossroads, and she wound up being just anyway, so which was really, I will say, it was actually pretty cool, because she said she wanted to be put on display. It's like, okay, I can make that happen, because they're gonna see you and they're gonna wanna. So I mean, I can make you be the center of attention if you really want. That is not gonna be a problem at all. They're gonna see your boobs and they're gonna be like, hi. And then, yeah, that's not a problem. I can make that happen. And so we went over this list thing, had her put it in writing. It's like, okay, you have to keep the list on you no matter what. And if, somebody else gets it, it'll be within reason and stuff like that. So, and she almost lost on the first 5 minutes of showing up, because, she shows a list. And then, one of the guys goes, who was a dominant, he goes, can I see that list? And look at her, because she was about to hand it to him. And I'm like, okay. And so she really quickly took it back. I was like, yeah, okay, this is going to be interesting. Well, during the night, this one of the male dominants was like, "Grrr, grrr, grrr," and I'm like, yeah. And we're talking around in a circle outside in the smoking section. And I was just like, so, whatever. She's sitting at my feet, and it's like, all right, this, that, and the other. It's a BDSM, people understand what it is. And so, just okay, da-da-da-da. And the guy's like, grrr, grrr, and I'm like, yeah, dumbly, 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 yes. So dumbly, 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 dumbly. But okay, I don't know if he was a friend of Joey and Meg's because of something that he was saying, but it was just like, that's nice, and I don't care. And one of the things he said was, I know that I could make the hottest BDSM blah 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 scene. I'm like, oh, is this where I'm supposed to pull out my bag of strap-ons to be like, no, I got one that's bigger than yours. I can change them out. And he got all, wait, what? I was like, all right. I mean, if you're going into let's whip it out, I got a bag of them. Not forgetting the rest of my tools. But, what is it that you would, he's like, I can make the hottest scene and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, go ahead. What would your hottest scene be? And he goes into this elaborate description on and on and on. And everybody's listening and entranced. And I'm just sitting there. Alright. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. That'd be interesting to watch. Yeah, no, that. Yeah, just yeah, get me a cigarette. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh no, that sounds. Like if the chair could have leaned back, I'd have been like, yeah, yeah. That does. I don't deny that sounds hot. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Because I knew he was gonna, at some point ask me how creative could I be? Because he was doing that, thing, and I was like, yeah, okay. Hmm. And so then after he tap dances a bunch around on the salt and do, he goes, so what do you got? What can you think of that would be a hot scene in the lifestyle? I was like, 5 words or less, all female gang bang. And everybody just goes, yeah. Yeah, that actually, yeah, yeah. It was great listening to that guy for however long he rattled on and on and on. But yeah, and then, the female who showed up, she looks up at me, she's like, please? I was like, all right, any other female dominance, or if you're not a female dominant, if you're a switch. Like, I'm a female dominant, everybody knows that. Dominance is whatever. So, any female dominance, or female switches. And a few female, I'm kind of dominant. I was like, all right, well, are you dominant or not, or are you a switch? It's like, all right, okay. So, like, there were like 7, 8 females, and then me. I mean, I'm still female, but yeah. And so, get bound by or bound for desire, whatever her name was, and get her on the cross. And, she had already gone over which tools I had that she was okay with and wasn't, and show them to the females. And nobody is going to be surprised when I say there was not a single empty seat. In that vicinity, there was it was difficult for even the standing areas. But I also went up to Patty and Mike, or Mike and Patty, I should specify. I apologize. Mike and Patty, and I'm like, hey, what do you think? I don't want to impede. I don't want to. And Mike was like, no, big room, the big room. Go in the big room. We will get chairs from the common area, bring them in, because I heard about the discussion outside. Yeah, no, the big room, it's going to be needed. And I'm like, all right, cool, that's fine, whatever. So I go outside to my car, and, bound by desire, whatever, bound for desire, whatever, is getting squared away. I go and get my tool bags. I'm just like, all right, got one on my back. Got the roll-up one was on my back because of the strap. And then I had the extra long keyboard case with extra pockets of storage in the front and on the sides, which had nothing but tools. So I carried, and then I had another tool bag that was like an attaché case, but it was used for tools. I think the lightest bag was like 75 pounds, and then I had an extra bag which had the first aid supplies. So I got, all the different bags, whatever bags that are on my back, I got each one in each hand, just walking in stiletto heels with my little tutu or skirt, whatever it was, and my corset was like, oh, hold on, put that down, I want a cigarette. And then I just put the cigarette in my mouth and just smoked it. as I get inside and take care of the butt and stuff. And anyway, so I get inside, set up the tools, just lay them all out. I'm like, okay, she's okay with these, she's not okay with these, da 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 da. And, everybody goes to town. Everybody's just going at her, and she wanted it. Okay, fine. That's I didn't allow all of the tools to be used because of certain levels that I felt off. And then it wasn't any disrespect to any of the females, but it was one of those, I'm not teaching a class on this right now. You either know how to use them or you don't. And so, no. And so I showed them where she was okay to be struck and where she wasn't okay, and then reiterated certain medical stuff. And everybody, it was 2 hours, whatever. And that was the end of that. And the guy who had done the whole challenge type of thing, similar to a fiance of mine at one point in time, in a different way, he wanted to flick him a boot. Stiletto heel boots. I think it was my St. John boots I was wearing that night. And I was like, that's cool. It's like, you took that to this level, or he said, I took it to this level and you went up to here. And I was like, yeah, well, you wanted to, it wasn't, and he was like, no. Many, many, many compliments to the chef. And I was like, what can I say? And, we were cool. It was no that was the end of it. We just sat there and she got her aftercare that she could, get from other people that she wanted, because she knew how I am. And that was the end of that. And so and then she went back to Dallas, and I was like, bye, because that's the only type of relationship I have with a female where it's like, fun, thanks, go, bye-bye. Go ahead. We had fun, yeah. Go. There's the door. Bye. Bye-bye. No more. No. And so I'm only snuggles with males and only certain types of males. And that is very... Anyway, that doesn't mean I'm submissive. No. Don't mistake that. Do not make that mistake. But I can have do the affection and snuggles where the arm around that stuff, with certain males, but not females. Bye, out the door. Thanks, bye-bye. I'm done. I am not that type of female at all. Which is weird when it comes to most females being like, hold me. No, out. Bye-bye. Thanks for the great time. It was fun. Bye. You can sleep over on the other side of the bed. Don't touch me at all. Keep 2 I don't snuggle with females. I just don't. I'm just not that type of female. Anyway, males, yeah, I admit I'm a bit of this. Anyway, so in reference to the male that I was engaged to twice, and the salt aspect, with the tap dancing and stuff. So after we had gotten back together, after some stuff had occurred, one day we're on the phone and I'm like, hey, I have an idea. He's like, oh yeah, what's your idea? And I'm like, I'm gonna build a bed. And he was like, you have a bed? I was like, yes, no, but I'm gonna build my BDSM bed and it's gonna be awesome. And he was like, well, I'm going to the field, so like you should wait until I get back so that way I could help you use tools. And I'm listening to him on the phone and I'm just like, I love you. I've been. Do you remember how I told you how I won a first place building competition? And he was like, yeah, but that was like before your head injury. And I was like, Okay. Remember how I told you I helped Mike build a 5-car garage? Yes, but that was before your head injury. I love you and I miss you right now and I really, really, really love you so much. And he was just like, I love you too. I'm gonna get ready to go. Yeah, you do that and I'm gonna go build the bed. I'm gonna go do that. And he was like, no, you should wait till I get back from the field. I'm like, no. I don't know if you know how to use this knob. Do you remember how I told you I cut down 2 trees in my backyard at the house that I owned in San Antonio? Yeah. What do you think I used to cut down the trees? Do you think I... He was like, probably a saw. Okay, so I cut down 2 pin oak trees with a saw, a hand saw, in less than an hour and a half that were both over 2 stories tall. Yeah, well, yeah, okay. So I know how to use a saw. Yes, but I love you. Love you. But yeah, and he was like, but you might need yeah, honey, do you know that there's a difference between cars and furniture? And he was like, yeah. I go, so you know how to work on cars? Yes. Do you know how to work on furniture? No. So you want to tell me to wait until you get back from the field to build something that you don't know how to build? Well, I don't know. I love you. What are you doing? I'm going to go outside to have like a whole bunch of cigarettes right now because I love you so much. I love you. I love you. Yes. Yeah, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it while you're in the field. Well, I'm only going to be in the field for this. Yeah, I'll be done by the end of the day that I start. And he's just like, yeah, you're good. Are you patronizing me? Are you patronizing me? Not fully. Oh, I'm going to go to Home Depot, or as I lovingly call it, my toy store, or I still lovingly call it my Dom Depot. I'm gonna go over there. Get some toys. To make a bigger toy. Cause yeah. And he was just like, okay, well, when I get back from the field, I'll test it. What? Well, I just want to test whether or not you can build it right. I love you. I love you so much. Did I tell you I love you? And he's just like, I love you too. It's like, yeah. I love you so much. I think I got this. I think I got it. I think I got it. I think it's gonna be cool. I think I'm going. When I get back from, yeah, when you get back. Okay. See you when you get back. It'll be done by then. And he was just like, okay. So because he challenged me, I was originally just gonna get regular screws. I went and got Techwood screws. Like. I went and got Techwood screws, and then even though the hinges, like I could have gotten the one head that would have been perfectly fine to like cover that whole, no, I got ones just slightly smaller so that way I could put like 5 in that one little hole and be like, yeah. For the hinges, for the horse hitches, all that stuff. And then when I looked at the chains, I was like, oh, I was just gonna go with that side. What is the heaviest weight you got? 1,500-pound weighted chain? I will take this many of this many of this many. And so the guy at Home Depot who's cutting the chains and stuff like that, he's looking at him and he's like, he looks at the cart that has the little handles, that whatever that one is, because I've got the MTF board, I got the wood that's already been cut and everything, so all I needed was the chains. I got the horse hitches, you know, the hinges and all this, and then the Techwood screws. And he looks at that as he's cutting the chains to the different lengths, finishes up, gives me the chains, writes the little piece of paper receipt thing, looks at me and goes, kind of a little nervous to ask this, but what are you building? None of your business. It's mine. What I'm building is mine. That's all you need to know. Don't ask right now, because I'm very upset at my fiance, which is probably like the wrong thing. I realize now to say, but I was like, yeah, I got this. Don't you worry. And he's like, yeah, oh, okay. So I get back to the house in Cedar Park, and I had mismeasured, right? Had to cut off, I think it was like, irony, 6 inches. And get everything fitted, get everything everything squared away, put all the stuff. I had ordered the cuffs and all that sort of stuff. And Sean comes back and he's like, hi, honey. And I'm like, hi. Whatever, you know, feelings and stuff. And yeah, and stuff. And, you know, that romance stuff. And why don't you come and relax? You want some coffee? You want some, yeah, talk. And I'm just like, so, how'd the field go? And I'm just, how'd everything go? Oh, yes, tell me all about it. Yeah, oh. Yes, yeah. So, are you ready? And he was like, for what? I was like, you remember what I told you bad? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. Test. He was like, yeah. And I'm like, all right. Let's go. And so we go to the bedroom, and he looks at the bed, and he's like, "Okay, it's your bed." And I'm like, "Yes. Would you like me to know what I call this level?" And he was like, "Levels?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's 3 levels." And he's like, I think I misunderstood. Yeah, you did. So, would you like me to tell you what the name of this level is? And he's like, "Sure." How many levels? 3. He's like, "Okay. What's this level called?" And I pull out the chains that had the fluffy handcuffs, which were rubber on the outside and bunny fur on the inside. And those who are in the BDSM lifestyle understand what that. It only looks fluffy. It feels fluffy until it goes on. And then it's not so fluffy. Though it's still physically fluffy. And he sees the ankle cuffs with the wrist cuffs and stuff, and he's like, "That's some thick chain." I'm like, "Yeah, 1,500-pound weighted chain. Since you wanted to test to see how strong I could make something." And he's just, "When was your hereditary again?" "Palm Sunday in 2000, my honey." Oh my God, okay. And I'm like, "So this is heaven." And he's like, "Yeah. You said you did scuba diving, right?" Yeah. What does that have to do? I'm like, "So, lift up the mattress." He's like, "What?" I'm like, 3 levels. And he's like, "Oh, okay. But it's a king-size mattress." And I'm just like, "Yeah. I obviously lifted it and moved it around myself because I did it myself. So, you just." And I'm like, "You want to move a little faster?" "Well, I just got out of the field." "Oh, okay, so fine, here you go." And leaned it against the wall, and he was just like, "Oh my God, that's like it's a 16-inch king size mattress. Okay, it's no big deal. I mean, I've moved it around a few times to make this." And he's just, "Oh, okay, good. What's this level called?" "It's called purgatory." "What?" "You go pretty dirty." Like, did I stutter? I'm like, "Yeah, I did that." He's like, "Well, why are there hinges?" I was like, "Because it has to fold to be able to see the next level before moving it around and out. And it's got to be comfortable, but not comfortable, but not as bad, but not as comfortable." And he was just like, "Comfortable and what?" And those cuffs were different. I think it was suede on the inside of the cuffs. And he was just, and I'm like, yeah. So, you could just, that's MTF board. And then, that's like, hinges for a door so that it closes. And those are horse hitches on each corner. I love you. Yes, I love you too. Can you move the MTF boards that way? So you've seen heaven, you've seen purgatory, you ready to see hell? He's like, "I don't know." Oh, no. And so, fold the MTF and I pick it up and seriously. I need you to feel it. Go ahead. And he looks at it and he goes, "What is that?" And I said, "That's called hell." And he goes, there's like wood in the what? And I said, okay, so you see the wood frame around the interior part of the bed. And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So you see the horse hitches at each end. Yeah, I see that. And you see the horse hitch also additionally in the center part where the T is formed. And yeah, see that? And I'm like, okay, so the horse hitches, there you go. So you could like do that, and then like you could either do, I could have your feet, at each end, or I could have your feet together at the top with the this, that, and the other, and then like like the one like 4x4 and then a 4x4, but there were two that were cut so that way they, and at shoulder height. What you think? Looks down because it's sunken in the bed area, and he looks at it and he goes, ah, how many screws are in each hole? And I was like, oh, there's 5. And he, why? Did you not have the ability to find one screw that would fit? No. And remember when you were like, I wanna, it's not supposed to be pretty in hell. So, and you were just, oh. So which level did you want to test? You Mr. Taker. What you good to? Which level do you want to test? To see if I can be strong enough. Which one? Can we go have a cigarette? Yes, we can go have a cigarette. And so like I walk out and he's behind me and he's like, come on, honey. And so smoke real quick, go back to the bedroom and said, oh yeah, there's that. Yeah, no, I'll try purgatory. I'm not trying hell. Nope, nope, don't want it, no. And I'm just like, okay. So pick up the MTF cord and I'm like, all right, well, there you go, sweetie, come on. Lay down and I'll strap you in, and you can test to see my work, to see if you can break it. I love you. So he gets in and do the strap him down. I'm like, okay, go. He goes, what? I'm like, you wanna see if you can break it, so go ahead. Like, yeah, so tinker, yeah. You know the good words. So half an hour goes by. Red, Uncle, I'm done. All right. Get him on. He sits up, he's like, I don't ever want to go to purgatory. I damn sure don't want to go to hell. And I'm like, God, can I only play in heaven from now on? Yes. Are you sure you don't want to test to see my work? No. I don't ever want to have to test your work again. Okay. Good. Pick up that king size mattress. Put it back on the bed because that would be rotating. Ready to go have a cigarette? It's just like, I don't remember why I went into that story. Oh, that had to do with the tools. But yeah, so I did that as far as like building that with. And so I did it. And so yeah, I made heaven, hell, and purgatory. did that by myself. It's what it is. So, hopefully you enjoyed that video. And make sure to like and share and all that sort of stuff. And oh, I did post about that on Fetlife. I posted about the whole thing. I just didn't use the like specific name of my at the time fiance, and so just I did it all by myself. And so you guys have a good one.